the very important thing is that gaining the trust of the employees. Now, in case if suppose we have articulated a value system where we say that, okay, we are going to work on 3 values. The first value is the discipline, second value is the caring, and third value is about performance.
At this stage, when you have already led so much with so much depth and experience, what are some of the aspirations that still excite you personally? Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Sunny Pancholi, and today's episode is truly special. We have with us a leader whose career spans nearly 3 decades across industries as diverse as Tyres, FMCG, Pharma, automobiles, textiles, chemicals, and power and cables. It's an honor to welcome Dr. R Suresh Kumar to the show. Dr. Kumar, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Dr. Kumar, your journey is remarkable. Starting from the ground realities of industrial relations in the early days to leading large-scale HR transformations, heading global operations, designing performance cultures, and even playing a key role in preparing organizations for IPOs. So not to forget, your contributions have been recognized with awards like Most Influential HR Professional and Top 100 HR Leaders for 5 consecutive years. Great.
Yeah, each phase of the journey has taught me something very new, and that is where I could able to execute well in all my decisions, in all my working. And today I'm very pleased to say that HR is no more the HR what we say, and we are really handling the strategy part of the business.
And I'm sure today's conversation will be full of insights for everyone tuning in. All right, so let's get started.
Sure.
Dr. Kumar, you have had such a rich and diverse journey, and I'm sure every phase has its own stories and lessons. So to start things off, why don't you take us through your journey in your own words? We would love to hear how it all began, the milestones along the way, and everything that made it uniquely yours.
One thing, because I started at a very ground level, where I was, I started my career as a management trainee in JK Tyres. And the first and foremost job which I had handled is handling the workers. And the place where I had worked, it was a very difficult terrain to work because it was a chamber terrain. Because those days, chamber terrain used to be something where very, very frightening and very scary. Where hardly, and this type of place I have got a grooming over there. So, how to deal with the workers, how to really get engaged with the workers, how to empathize with them, and how to handle the union. That was the first grounding of the job which I had. And today, if you ask me, I am coaching the executives, I am coaching the directors, I am even handling the digital, and I'm a part of the HR, and I'm seeing that how the business strategy can really work in transforming an HR for an organization. So, and one thing which I really would like to say, if you know how to counsel the workers, you can be a good coach and mentor, because that is where every HR people who work with me or the team which I work, I always have been telling you have to be grounded. You have to first work with the blue collar in order to handle the white collar in future.
Such an incredible journey. It's amazing to hear how every phase added a new layer to your leadership journey. All right. So, hearing about your journey from signing settlements in South Africa to navigating negotiations in Croatia, it's honestly incredible. If I may ask, what are some of those unforgettable cultural lessons or personal moments that really stayed with you? The kind that not only shaped your approach as a leader, but maybe even left a lasting impact on you as a person?
See, when we speak of going to foreign country, or when we speak of going to Africa or Croatia, first and foremost, we need to understand that how we can align the values within the company. That is fundamental. Now, for that, the very important thing is that gaining the trust of the employees. Now, In case if suppose we have articulated a value system where we say that, okay, we are going to work on 3 values. The first value is the discipline, second value is the caring, and third value is about performance. Nothing more to be done. And if we can build our competencies across these values and train the people on it and say that this is what we are looking forward from you in order to transform your entire business journey, and this is where we will be working. And first instance, you have to imbibe this, not that in between you have to come and say that, okay, we will be doing this. No. And it has to be so beautifully articulated, it has to be so well done through training program and all. And we have to get the people in our approach. We have to transfer people from one country to here. We have to send our people over there so that the people start meeting each other, they started empathizing each other. So what happens here over here is your journey of any transformation, your journey of any trust building becomes so easy. I tell you, there have been instances where the people, where even the blue collar workers or the white collar workers, anybody, they used to invite us for their home for the dinner. And when they come to know that I'm purely vegetarian, I don't know. So they used to read the recipes of Indian recipes, that how they need to be, will be cooking the food, how they will be doing it. And to an extent, it has so happened that one of the my colleagues in my own department, she had got some new utensils from outside and say, no, I am going to cook vegetarian foods for the first time, so I don't want to use my own utensils. It was so good, so good. And I had never encountered any issues anywhere, wherever I have worked. Only thing is that we should know that what is the people need and how that we can empathize with them, and we have to have a caring attitude towards them.
That's incredible, Dr. Kumar. It's amazing how these moments stay with us far beyond the boardrooms and settlements.
See, settlement is I have almost signed 21 settlements today, more than 21 settlements. But there have been, I will not say that all the settlements have been easy. But the first and foremost is that whenever you are signing a settlement, the basic thing you have to understand is that the settlement is something where you need to have the people trusting you. If they trust you, if the union trusts you, if the workers trust you, your journey becomes very easy. There have been instances where I have been saying that I don't want to put anything forth to you in order to impose you. You tell me that how these things can be done well. The first and foremost, okay, we are facing issues, we are facing, let me, how we can, again, let us create a committee, we have to create a joint council, let us work together and see how we can transform this. And once we get these type of feeling, when we started involving people, workers into these type of approaches and all, they feel confidence, okay, they are not coming and imposing anything on us. They are making us a part of this journey. So when they become a part of this journey, then they question us, what next for us? Then it becomes an easy for me also. Okay, you are the part of the management. You are the one who are telling us, okay, this is the way forward for us. Now tell us that in case if suppose you want something extra, then what should be the performance of an organization? How we should be growing? Because in case if suppose we need to see, we have to spend the money, then we should be making the money. So how we can make that money? So this is a fundamental question. And there have been instances when I go and visit the union leaders, I go and visit their homes, I go and visit the workers at their home. And to be frankly telling, those people, 20 years before whom I have worked with me, who have worked with me, they are still in contact with me. And whenever I go to their cities and all, they make a point, they are coming and meeting me.
Great. So, continuing that conversation, having been in those rooms where trade union leadership transitions happen, I can only imagine the weight of the conversation you have had to hold. Not just the negotiations, but the real fears, hopes, and histories people bring with them. So, when you are in that delicate space, balancing the heart and the hard calls, what's the golden rule you personally live by to honor both empathy and business priorities without losing yourself or the trust across the table?
See, there have been two instances which I wanted to quote over here. And when I was doing a negotiation with a federation, federation means the entire state, it will have only one union. And it was a very, very hard nut for me to crack. Reason is they have been fundamentally following certain policies and philosophies for certain years. And they are and to an extent, they were not ready to succumb to whatever we say. So the issue with what was happening over here is that I have to identify few people among the union itself that who are ready to listen, who have who wanted to see the company prospering and all. So I used to break it into different parts. So I will have the conversation individually with these employees and explain them where do we stand, and even tell them that what is the capability and the capacity of the company to pay in these circumstances. Because in case if suppose we wanted to make a company organization viable, we have to see that what is the capability to pay and similarly what are their demands and how to the extent how their demands can be met. So the thing which I always have been propagating with the union leader is that okay, the company will continue paying, but it has to the pay for the performance, and how that performance can be linked with the overall work culture is what is that we have been trying for years together. And once they understood that philosophy, and the things became easier for us to take it forward and see that how the settlement can be discussed, made, and go. Because I said, okay, we see any, and if in case if suppose we have been very clear for X money, in case if suppose you show the performance of 15%, it may increase from X plus 1 if it goes from 15 to 20%, likewise. Because we want to perform, and it is everybody's contribution. Uh, the workers, for instance, may not be directly responsible for the sales, but of course, they are responsible for the cost efficiency. They are responsible for productive efficiency. They are responsible for quality, and they are responsible to see that the plant and machineries are maintained well. And in case if suppose we used to explain, in case if you take care of these 4 or 5 factors, and our quality increases and we have to create a good image in the market, definitely our sales will grow. So their contribution, the management contribution, and similarly, there have been instances when I used to get the salespeople directly on the negotiation table in order to make them understand that what challenges the salespeople are speaking. Because it cannot be at the one corner, we are discussing only a one type of aspects of the work and another we are leaving aside. So they felt that empathy, and sometimes we had something called as a feel the pulse. So I used to even engage the workers directly with the salespeople in the market and say, please go and see the difficulties they are facing. So there are one instances when one of the union leader came and said, sir, because it is very easy for us to manufacture, but it is very difficult for us to sell. So we have to create a mix and a type of um, uh, like a type of value system in an organization where the people feel the pain of each other and they empathize each other and see that how we can contribute among ourselves for so that the company grows and well. Once they understand this, settlement becomes very, very easy.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that perspective, Dr. Kumar. It really reminds us how leadership is as much about humanity as it is about strategy.
See, strategy, whenever we speak about the strategy, one thing that through the experience, what I have learned is that the business, where do we stand today? And what is where we want to take the business? The main important thing in the strategy is creating a framework for the business. In case if suppose you can identify the right framework and you can identify the right philosophy for the business, I tell you the systems and process will fall in place. Today, what is happening over here that we just wanted to face the competitions without even looking into our strengths and weaknesses. I say that I always say, okay, you may have a weakness. I'm not at all ignoring that. But how you can strengthen your strengths so that your weaknesses are faded is more important. We have to work more on our strength, more. We cannot become complacent. And for that, what type of business framework is required? And where this framework has to be fixed, and based on those framework, how the processes and systems have to be developed for the business is what we have to work on the strategy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, continuing our conversation, Mr. Kumar, given your deep experience in designing compensation systems that actually inspire people, not just reward them, I'm curious, in today's world where employees expect transparency, companies are fighting for talent, and fairness is under a bigger spotlight than ever. How do you believe organizations can truly balance all these three: transparency, competitiveness, and fairness, without losing the human connection in the process?
Um, as far the CNB is concerned, the compensation and benefit is concerned, the fundamental which an organization forgets is aligning the position with the compensation. Now, the issue arises when in the same position, when the same type of job, you find there is a degree of variation in the compensation. Now, I'll give you an example, for instance. If you need to have a research scientist working for an organization, it's a very rare commodity available in the market today. There is a possibility that the research scientist may draw a salary even above managing director. So aligning that position first and foremost with the remuneration is fundamental. Second comes is, what is my capability to pay? What is my company's capability to pay? And if I have to map that against the market, then what are the gaps? When we say that how we have to make the map against the market is means when there are gaps, that means you have to performing as per the market needs. So here comes the aspects of performance pay. You have the fixed pay where you pay as per the company's capacity, company's today's performance. Then you keep on bridging those gaps by aligning with the market and adding certain elements of performance into it. As your position grows in an organization, as you become more strategist, your performance start increasing and fixed start decreasing. So the fixed salary at a lower level may be, let us say 90%, but the fixed salary at the CXO level may just be 40% and 60% may. So this is how we have to align the performance with the strategy. Because who are the drivers of the business? It is the leaders who are leading the business are the drivers of the business. So they have to come with a strategy. They have to see that how the business grows, how they have to perform in the market, how they have to undergo. So we have to align those performance on those bases. Now, if you perform better than the market, if you perform better than the competition, I don't think that any organization or any company will have an issue in maintaining the pay parity. So that is fundamental, and that is what the entire HR or the business strategies really have to think for. First and foremost, aligning the positions with the performance and the capacity of the company to pay. And secondly, how this capacity can be aligned with the market and how to reduce those market gaps. Third comes is, when you have the good performers in a company, every company has got a challenge of retaining them. So what are the long-term benefits and what are the short-term benefits? How you can make those long-term benefits really attractive for the employees to stay in an organization is again fundamental. So there are many aspects onto it. You can pay ESOPs to the employees, number one, or you can increase their incentives or performance pay based on the tenure of the service in an organization, number two, or you can have something very different in terms of getting an annuity or getting this fixed salary or something if they work in an organization 4 to 5 years. There are many ways of doing it. So these three things are very, very fundamental. As I said, first and foremost is aligning the position with the remuneration. Number two, identifying the market gaps and how to bridge those gaps through the performance pay. And third is how we can retain good performers in an organization and what are the long-term and short-term plan of that. Which I wanted to say that there has to be a trust, always a trust. What is that we lack today is that anybody coming in an organization, we have got a very apprehensive type of approach. But in case if you hire a very good talent in an organization, the first things which comes in the mind of a talent manager is going to stick with me or not. Remove that type of feeling from your mind. What is that you need to be doing over here is providing that type of culture, providing that type of value system where he will be thinking twice before making a change. Even if suppose He looks forward for a high salary outside. He say, okay, this is what I'm going to miss elsewhere. In case if we can provide those value system in an organization, I don't see that there is going to be any issue as far as the retention or attrition is concerned.
Absolutely, Dr. Kumar, absolutely. Okay, so at this stage, when you have already led so much with so much depth and experience, what are some of the aspirations that still excite you personally? And part B of my question is, along with that, how do you see yourself bringing that experience and vision into boardrooms where shaping the future of companies and sometimes even industries happens?
Um, Again, I wanted to answer this question through a few of the cases which I have did. See, I have been mentoring and coaching a CEO of an organization. I don't want to name the person as well as an organization. So, and that organization was making a loss, and ultimately, but the business was too good. He was in automobile ancillary industry, and he was no clue that how we can get that into the process of making a profit. I coached him. What did I do is that I made a coaching for the performance improvement, not a personal coaching. So what if we sat with him, we identify what are the pain areas today we is encountering, and thing which emerged out of that coaching is that it was a single man decision in an organization. So what we said, okay, why don't you involve your team members into it? Why don't you involve the people who have worked for you years together? Let us brainstorm. So we used to have such type of small focus group day on day, and they used to come up with a lot of issues in terms of quality, other things, sales, and one by one we identified 6 to 7 critical issues, and we said, okay, this is for to in order to really face this issue, or here to come with some amount of solution for this issue. We had a time frame, we had an action plan, and we really thrusted on it. The company which was making a loss, which was 150 crores of revenue, today that company is making a revenue of 500 crores with a profitability of 40 crores. Such, I, I will say that it is not a huge transformation, but it is a huge performance change happened in an organization. A guy who was keeping all the decision with him, and he became so conscious that, okay, my things will be getting leaked, my things will go over there. Now he's so optimistic that he started having trust and belief in his people. He get their views, he get this, I goes to the market, identify the issues, speak to the people, get the things done. And every success today, what they do, they have got a celebration where they call their families, they call their employees, they celebrate. And he makes a points of even going to the families and telling that, okay, today I'm sitting not because of my employee, because of your contribution, because you are providing them such a lifestyle at home that they are contributing so well in the organization. So transformation, what has happened is the family started thinking about the company. Where there was such a closeness, it has become so. The reason for explaining this is that, having worked in many organizations for so many years, now I aspire to get into the direction mode where I can contribute more toward the business in order transforming them, in order to bring a performance culture, in order to strategizing them, understanding the pain points, where even I feel happy that I am using my experience in this, and even those organizations are also very comfortable, okay, we are getting the right advices. For that, the circumstances, for that, the situation, for that, the people whom I have worked, for the family who is with me, they have been very encouraging, because it is not that everybody get an opportunity to be there, and and you have to face hard things in the life. Even we are facing and hard things, you require for a support. So you cannot forget those people with you have been supporting you during your hard times. You have been there with encouraging you for your good things. And I still remember having just received one book signed by the managing director of Hindustan Unilever and presenting me it really was something very enthralling to my experience, because he came to our unit, which is very remote part, in which was in a very remote part of the country, called a place called Khalilabad. A lot of people may not even be have heard about it. There he saw that the workers are making presentation in English. That itself has changed his. It is not the question that they are making in English. They are making presentation in English, but the transformation from the people who cannot speak even the right Hindi, that has changed for transformation in order to capture such a good language in such a short time. And very frankly asking, all those workers who have there, I'm speaking something, it's just a 2001 or 2002 story. Today, all of them very well placed. Some of them are engineers, some are managers, some are factory managers. So that is, so we feel pride, okay, we have given some, we have done something, not only to the workers, even to the society, where they look forward for us, or they have been looking forward for our direction. So this is where I feel that I can contribute a lot wherever I am.
Incredible, Dr. Kumar. Truly incredible. Okay, so moving ahead, today when we talk about leadership at the board level, it's impossible to separate it from the growing importance of ESG. So, given your journey of leading with both heart and strategy, how do you personally view the role of ESG in shaping the future of companies? And what lens would you bring to the boardroom when it comes to driving real, meaningful ESG outcomes, not just ticking the boxes?
Same. ESG is a mindset today. And we have to ask one question to ourselves is, are we really truthful in doing what we say? Because everybody looks for an organization. See, in case if you go to any organization, you will find a lot of policies being written over there, a lot of artifacts they displays over there, placing themselves as one of the best ESG compliant organization. But when you go inside, you will find a lot of gaps over there. Now, that is where I said it has to be a mindset. It is not just following a certain rule book and saying that this is what we are abiding and doing. In order to come that mindset is that, first and foremost, we have to see that how much truthful we are to ourselves. And when we speak about the truthful, then whatever we are saying, whether we can do it or not, and say only to that extent what you can do. Some industries, for instance, says that, okay, we can comply 100% in environment, to the environment. 100% compliance to the environment being in manufacturing is really possible? The question we should be asking us. So rather than telling 100%, we can always say, okay, to an extent to 50%, to the 60%, we can do it. And these are the gaps, and these gaps we need to bridge in the future. When we have this type of mindset in our thinking, or when we have this type of approach in our business philosophy, then the things will fall in place. Otherwise, ESG compliances is just going to remain on the books. It cannot be brought into real practices. And if it is not brought into the real practices, one thing I wanted to be very clear is that it is going to be very challenging for the business to continue.
Beautifully expressed, Dr. Kumar. You have captured exactly why ESG needs to be rooted in leadership values, not just frameworks.
Of course, that is the truth. And second important thing is that in wherever I have worked, wherever I am working today, one thing always has to be seen, what is that we have to do in the ESG? You have to have a thorough knowledge of it. Number one, you create on your own internal audit sheet. Go audit and find out where the gaps lies. You cannot bridge the gap in a day's time or in a month's time, not even in a year's time. See that how these gaps can be bridged in a period of time, and what is the action that the management has to take in order to see that we are fully compliant. That will happen only if you have the right ESG framework and you have got the right auditing processes in an organization.
Rightly said, Dr. Kumar, rightly said. So, you have had such a rich leadership journey already, and now recently becoming part of Directors Institute family. I'm genuinely curious to ask you one last question before we wrap up. What has that experience been like for you so far, joining Directors Institute? And if you could share, what stood out for you?
The Directors Institutes have got a very, very big role to play in my life today. Three things which I wanted to stress over here. The first and foremost thing, the knowledge which I have gained is tremendous. And in terms of looking into the various corporate governance aspects of various countries, how that are being followed, and what is that has to be done in order to see that we become compliant, number one. Number two is that I got to know many things while they're in the Directors Institute. For instance, I happen to meet you. I happen to meet other colleagues. And we have a good gathering there in Pune, where I came in contact with so many people. And sharing the knowledge among ourselves and feeling that, okay, how vital and important today is that the institute like Director Institute is playing a role in order to get the entire community together. Number three is that there's so much of importance and there's so much of information is given about the ESG and the compliances is that once a person comes out of the Director Institute, as I was telling, that it becomes a mindset to only think about the compliances and ESG and how this can really be brought on the table, how it can be really be worked towards in order to see that an organization becomes more and more compliant and more responsive.
Dr. Kumar, that's so wonderful to hear. It's always inspiring to see leaders investing in the next chapter so thoughtfully.
My pleasure. And in case if suppose Director Institute come with many more courses like this, I will be the first to get nominated.
Amazing, amazing, great. So let me tell you, Dr. Kumar, hearing you today was a true reminder that leadership isn't built in conference rooms. It's built in those real defining moments of courage, negotiations, reflections, and vision. Thank you for taking us behind the scenes of your journey, not just the successes, but the deeper principles that have shaped the way you lead and inspire. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you once again, Dr. Kumar. I truly appreciate the space to reflect and share in such an authentic conversation. Great. And what a powerful note to leave us on. To everyone listening, I hope today's conversation sparked something real for you, because leadership isn't a destination. It's a lifelong craft. Until we meet again, keep challenging, keep reflecting, and keep building a future worth believing in. Thank you so much and have a nice time.